that? Oh, yeah, I got to get fired up here. Well, I am. Few things have had me fired up. So if you guys see me look up, I am looking at the comments on another screen over there so that I can try to see you guys and interact a bit while I'm going live. So that's where I'm looking when I'm looking over that way, or my dog has jumped really high up in the air. So I'm going to dive in. Welcome to day 3 of the Social Sanity Challenge. I would love to hear if you guys have been taking the steps of day 1 and day 2. So first we had cleaning up the Facebook news feed. So blocking, hiding, unfollowing as necessary, and then leaving a nice message of gratitude or happiness for someone. And then yesterday we talked about using Facebook for business. So Facebook pages as your page as a way to reroute around the madness. So using bookmarks to just go right to your page, and then using the feature as a little hack in the URL, your Facebook page /news_feed to actually watch the pages that you like as your page, and then to interact with them in a positive way or sharing something. So today, day 3, we're going to talk about LinkedIn a little bit. But one of the things, so like I said, every day we're going to talk about, I see a little madness that happens in the sunlight. Day 3, we're going to talk about, first start with the mindset piece, and then get into the tool and the tactic and the tool, and then some of the things that you can do to create a better experience for you there. But I mentioned, if you guys saw my live earlier today, I first wanted to notify you that we were changing the time to 3:30. Also wanted to welcome new people into the group, and always doing that again whenever you join. Day 1 is whatever your day 1 is. So you're never behind. We have units in the group that you can look at for day 1, day 2, they'll always be there. And even if you're going through it and on day 6, you want to start day 1 again, go for it. But the group will continue to live on with tips and ideas. So something I noticed, and we see this a lot whenever a new feature is added to social media, there are the people that take to it right away. There are the people that kind of sit back and go, that could be cool, but I'm going to watch other people do it first, and then I'll see maybe how I can do it. And then there are the people who right out of the gate are like, oh my God, I can't believe they did this. What are they thinking? This is stupid. And so the most recent example of that is that they've added stories to LinkedIn. And so not everyone might have it yet. What I've also found is mine actually appeared the other day. And just like on Facebook or Instagram, it's going to be like at the top of your screen. So here I've got my LinkedIn app open, and you can see it like at the top, these little circles, just like on Facebook and Instagram. And not everybody has it yet. So like I said, mine just popped up a couple days ago. I've been seeing some things on LinkedIn like, hey, I'm jealous. I'm hearing people have stories. I'm not seeing it. So it should show up for you. It is here, but can't wait. Let's see. Oh, do you have it? Yeah, not, not sure, right? So here's what got me, and it wasn't necessarily the reaction to stories on LinkedIn itself, but it was how I started to see this onslaught in my news feed from all of these, marketing, digital marketing, social media marketing experts. I hate that word, by the way, and certainly people are experts in their craft in certain ways, but self-proclaiming and things like that, I kind of hate that. But that aside, that's not the rant. The rant is more about the fact that stories have barely even appeared, and people are trying things out. And all of a sudden I'm seeing this onslaught of my newsfeed of like, this is stupid, this is wrong, all these people are doing it wrong, this person looks like a jerk, I'm so tired of seeing this. If you're not doing this, you're completely missing the boat anyway and shouldn't even be on LinkedIn. This is what stops us, people. Like, calm down. The paint's not even dry yet. And already that kind of messaging, someone who might have been like, ooh, you know what? One of the things that I read about stories is that it actually makes anxious people who are otherwise nervous about posting on social media, that stories give those people a little bit more freedom and comfort in trying something on social media because one, it goes away. Two, the comments and the likes and the views aren't public. So they're not worried about, oh, I'm doing this post and no one liked it and now I look like a jerk and I'm so embarrassed. And these are real thoughts that people have. So the great thing about putting stories on LinkedIn is, you know what, there will be people that get really damn good at it. There already are. And yeah, there's going to be people that use it poorly. Well, then don't look at them. And there's some people who are just, have the cojones to go out and be like, let me give it a shot. And they don't care that maybe they look a little silly or are doing the wrong things as deemed by the experts. Good for them. They're trying it, right? They're exploring and they're seeing what's going to work for them. So when not even like a few days in, there's people out there, that's wrong, you look stupid, don't bother. I'm like, why? Come on. Let's not take that comfort zone away from people. So that person that might have been sitting there going, oh, cool, I love stories on Instagram. I'm a little bit more introverted. I don't want to worry about likes and views and all this public stuff. I'm going to do it on LinkedIn. And then they scroll by and they see these posts from these people that they admire saying how stupid it is and how wrong that guy is and how bad that girl looks. And if you're not doing it my way, don't be here anyway. That's exactly the problem with all of this, people. So I know that the more I do these sorts of things, I'm going to piss social media people off and the people who are saying this, because they're probably going to think, oh, Sue's making people start small. Well, okay, if that's where you are, then be there. You know what? If you're great at video and you're great at creating 15-second sound bites and you're whipping out a bunch of stuff, great, by all means do it. But for the people that get pause from those messages and it makes them just, oh, I was ready. And then forget it. I don't want that for people, because you need to be on LinkedIn right now. You need to be on Instagram right now. You need to be on YouTube right now. And I'm not saying you need to be in all these places. You need to be where you feel comfortable doing something that is going to help your business, help you get that job, help you build relationships. Whatever works for you right now. Maybe in a few weeks, you're going to be a freaking pro at creating amazing stories that generate leads. But if today you just want to take a picture of your Zoom meeting you had and say how grateful you are for it, then great, do that. Practice using the tools. How do people get good at what they do? The way that I have converted so many of my clients, and I had a client who's a realtor, an amazing realtor, had never gone live on Facebook, right at the verge of COVID. Her open house that weekend was one of the first to get canceled. And I was like, you're going live. No, I'm not. I've never done it before. I'm not doing it. So what did we do? We got on the phone and I forced her to practice by herself with herself so that she could say, oh, that's not so bad. I can do this. And went and did it the next day. And that's what this is about. Practice. So stop listening to that crap that all these people are saying that bring us down and make us feel bad. And I'm going to start some screen sharing and then go back to some of these things. And so this is what I kind of started with. You are not a failure because some so-called expert says you're doing it wrong, or says this isn't the feature to use, or you're stupid if you're not doing this. No, none of that shit. And actually what initiated this whole thing for me was I started asking people, why? What's holding you back? Right now, during this time, people are losing businesses. People need to sell online. People need to meet people online. So why are you not doing it? I swear, the number of people who said something like this, and actually used the word ass. Ass was very prominent. I'm afraid of looking like an ass. I feel like an ass. I don't want to be an ass. Oh my God, that's what experts are making people feel like, when experts should be making people feel like they can do it, right? Sure, are there things I'm going to tell you that here's a best practice that might work better for you? Am I going to tell you don't even bother unless you have a production crew and you're ready with a 5-page story to tell? No. Are there things that are wrong? Yeah, but you know what? I don't think anyone's going to go out there and rant or rave about their client or do something obnoxious, right? These are not the people I'm talking to. So I don't want to see this anymore. And so Gary Vaynerchuk is actually one of these people that makes a lot of people feel bad because of the you have to be everywhere, you must hustle constantly. But he also does have another message. So I have a love-hate relationship with Gary Vaynerchuk. I think he's amazing, but his message is not for everyone. And that's what we need to remember, right? When people are saying something, my message is not for everyone. My message is for the people who are maybe hesitating, whatever level they may be at, to do something different, or willing to try and open up and change their comfort zones and get past those voices in their head and the ones that come from externally. And that was something I was actually listening to a video that Gary Vaynerchuk did, a keynote he did on social media anxiety and imposter syndrome. And he said, I love this quote, "When you stop hearing things, shit gets remarkable." And that is so true. And he said it from two perspectives. And I actually have a few more that I'd like to add to it. But what he was saying was, here he's talking about trolls, right? Because that's something else that is scary. I remember when I first was getting on social media more publicly, more visibly, it was actually in my fitness life. And I was using so much video content on YouTube to, at the time, help me choreograph my Zumba classes, because fitness instructors were like, hey, here's my stuff, use my stuff. And I thought, well, I need to give back, right? I'm using stuff that other people are sharing. So I want to do my part and contribute my choreography to other people as well, and play the game. I was so terrified, God, especially because I was dancing and I was terrified. Straight out of the gate, I got an unlike. And I was like, oh my God, I want to die. I can't believe I just did this. My life is over, right? That's how it feels. But then I let it be and it sat there. And days later, people were like, I use this in my class. This is so great. I did this in my class. It was so fun. Someone in Thailand did my choreography in their class. And then a few years later came to visit Chicago, came to my class and did it with me. I mean, that is so much worth it over hearing, seeing a thumb down, hearing a bad remark. So the more you do, the more people aren't going to like. And so Gary Vaynerchuk was saying, when you stop hearing things, shit gets remarkable. Ignore the trolls. Ignore it. If it's some positive or if it's some negative feedback that you can put a positive spin on, thank that person. Or maybe you just let them know, hey, you know what? Great, you're not my audience, but here's this person that might be able to help you, right? The other spin he put on this quote, which I thought was also wonderful, was also about ego. It's also the good stuff. He hears the good stuff, of course, but it's the, oh, Gary, you're the man. You're so great. You're amazing. You're awesome. It's the ego stuff where people praise him as a celebrity, where he also says, don't hear that either, because that then takes you out of purpose. Right? So him, I'll put the link to that video in the comments of this, because I thought it was a really great watch. Lots of F-bombs, probably more F-bombs than a Quentin Tarantino movie in this one. So just so you know, but it's a great watch, and him talking about this was so impactful. Now, I want to add a few more to this. So Gary Vee's talking about don't listen to the ego floof, but also don't listen to the haters. The other thing is, don't listen to the experts that don't serve you. If there's an expert, and this actually happened to me with Gary Vaynerchuk, I saw him speak live like 8 years ago, shortly after I started my business. And I was like, oh yeah, and jacked up with the crowd. But then the hustle, this, that, everything really started to hold me back. And so I was like, wait, I'm actually having more anxiety trying to learn from him than I am being energized. So that's the thing too. Stop hearing the things from experts that don't work for you. Just because someone's saying it and they're highly revered and highly regarded and they're kicking ass, doesn't mean that person is for you. And then the other thing that we need to stop hearing is the voice in our own head, right? The one that tells us, well, if Gary says I should do this, I must be doing it wrong. Or if this person in my news feed that I admire is yelling at me about the things I did wrong on my story or my post, then I'm bad and I should stop doing it, right? So stop hearing all those things, okay? And then here's my quote. We have the quote from Many Humans. We have the quote from Gary. We have the quote from me. You are not a failure because an expert spelled it wrong. I'm not a failure because I spelled wrong. You are not a failure because an expert doesn't like how you do things, right? Find another expert, take it with a grain of salt. Take what works for you and move on. So with that, talking about LinkedIn and stories coming to LinkedIn, I'm not going to talk to you already in like week 1 of stories being on LinkedIn to go do that. But what I'm going to show you how to do in our next step of challenge 3 is, where's my screen share? I'm going to switch to LinkedIn. And, oh wait, I can still be there. Let's make sure this changes over. Move my things around. Hang tight. All right. Are we seeing LinkedIn? Yeah, peeking over here. Yeah, exactly. Don't feed trolls. Who's gonna hate? Yeah, we don't need them. All right, so here we are on LinkedIn. So what I'm going to show you today is very similar to what we did, almost exactly the same as what we did on day 1 for Facebook. We can do the same thing on LinkedIn, right? So I had a fleeting thought in my mind that went away, but it will come back. So same thing here. What we want to do on LinkedIn is, again, clean the feed. LinkedIn really is a great place for everyone to be. This is the one platform that, whether you're going to use it actively or not, is the social channel that I would say everyone should be on to have their profile up, have a network connected, right? If you're like, I'm never going to do Instagram, I'm never going to do Facebook, great, we'll find those other ways. But LinkedIn is a place that I do believe everyone should at least have a good looking profile. And then as you start to use it, same thing can happen as happens on Facebook, which is these things that go through the news feed, right? All these posts served my rant today, but I think it was helpful. Hopefully it was helpful. But you can still start to really see a lot of stuff in Facebook or on LinkedIn. People are starting to bring politics into LinkedIn. People are sharing pictures of their breakfast, which may not serve us, and we don't need to spend time on that on LinkedIn, or just other things that aren't what we expect of the LinkedIn channel. So for me, instead of writing a post saying how everyone's doing LinkedIn wrong, instead, if something doesn't serve me, I will do what we did on Facebook, which is, and again, I'm going to do this as an example. Ken is great, and Ken has a great business. He's just an example here. So you go to the top right, just like everything else. Those 3 little dots are always our friend and where we can find the hidden nuggets. So we click on those 3 dots. We have lots of options here. So the one I want to show you today, though, is, again, if you don't want to disconnect from someone, because people have that fear that they're going to go to the profile, see the connect button and go, hey, why'd you disconnect from me? You can simply unfollow. And that will mean if you have a connection and you're tired of seeing their content, or maybe it's just completely irrelevant for you. You know, maybe their business is birdseed and all they post about is birdseed, and you love hanging out with them and you love networking with them, but you don't need to see their content. You can just say unfollow, okay? So this is the next thing I want you to do, is go through that LinkedIn news feed and just find those things or those people that don't need to be in your feed anymore. And again, this is 2 sides. One side is removing the distraction, removing any negativity, removing any anxiety, but also opening up space for fresh to come in, for positive to come in, for new relevance to come in, right? And especially for people who perhaps are open connectors. There's a lot of people, if you've heard the term open connectors, basically these people on LinkedIn who will literally connect with everyone and anyone. That has never been my method. I think that's great for a lot of people if that works for them. But for me, what I see happening there is an increase in those messages like, hey, Frank, I see your website. I see that you're a doctor and your website needs some SEO. I can do that for you. Well, first of all, my name is Sue, not Frank. I'm not a doctor. I'm a social media consultant and I have an SEO guy. So thank you. And literally that will happen. I have been called, I mean, it's the cut and paste, right? I've been called Sean the lawyer, Bob the doctor, all kinds of things. So that is what happens in mass when you become an open connector, right? So if you don't mind managing that, great. The other thing, if you're an open connector, is you're going to start seeing more and more people in your news feed. And I want my news feed to be focused. I want it to be limited in distraction. I want it to be not anxiety producing and negative. I want it to be people that I want to connect with, people that are my clients, people that can refer me business, people I can refer business to, and people that I can learn from. So that's today's step, is to go through, as you see in your LinkedIn newsfeed, and you can do this on your desktop or your phone, unfollow people, not Ken, follow Ken, but unfollow people, and then see if it starts to refresh and the new people that you might see that come about that. So the other thing you can do, I want to point out as well, is the other thing that's great to do on LinkedIn is following leaders. And I mentioned yesterday in my live, I'm shifting my language from influencer to leader. A leader is always an influencer, but an influencer is not always a leader, right? So what we can do in this little button, as you're doing this, you can see something that says, improve my feed. Because see, LinkedIn knows if I'm unfollowing someone, I want to improve my feed. Okay, so where does this take me? So this takes me into some leaders, media, people that are, influencers that are leaders and known for their content. So what I can do is I can come in here and I can also follow some more media, some more leadership, some more education, some more industry knowledge, whatever that might be. So go through and unfollow people to clean up the feed, then come on over here and see if there's something else that might be useful for you to also follow to add into your newsfeed. Okay. And then the next step I want you to take, and this is that outreach that I also want you to do, and this is multifold as well, okay? The outreach has a few purposes. One, it's because part of this exercise we're doing does focus on what bothers me, what makes me anxious, what distracts me, what gives me imposter syndrome, what feeds the negative voice in my head, and cleaning that up, right? That's one side of the coin. But as we clean up our news feeds and we follow new people, we're also adjusting our algorithm, right? I talked about that in day one as well. We create our own echo chamber. So the step that I want you to take after the cleanup is to go out, connect with maybe some people, like 3-4 people that you have not connected with, and then actually go to their content and comment on it. Reach out to people, because that then, just like on Facebook, is how you feed the algorithm so that it serves you more of what you want, right? So how do I do that? Let me find someone that I highly respect named Catherine. And what I can do is I can come over and scroll down here and I can look at her videos, or I can click here on see all, and I can go to her activity, and I can look at her posts and I can see what she posted last. And I can scroll down and I can see some things that she's posted. And then what I can do is I can like it. That's one little step. And then I can also add a comment, which I'm not going to do yet because I want my comment to be meaningful. But so that's how you then start to serve the algorithm. So I'm removing things from my feed. I'm following leadership that helps me, and then I'm going to go out and proactively communicate with somebody to give signals to LinkedIn that says, more of this, please. And then as an extra credit exercise, the other thing I'd love to see you do to make LinkedIn work a little bit better for you and bring some positivity into your day and someone else's is find someone you haven't connected with in a while. A while ago, I realized that there was a woman who was pivotal in shifting my career. When I first started my business, I was going through these huge struggles with the coaching that I was trying to offer. And I quit my job in 2009 to start this business, which was the worst time ever. And I literally lost everything I saved up. Because of real estate and other things and that economic decline. And I was like, I am not going back. And so I invested in this little marketing shtick thing that I thought, this is going to be it, right? No results, none, zilch. panic attacks, horrible. I just felt like it was over. And this woman is the first woman who this started to happen then. You know, I felt like I wasn't getting anything, but I was getting some stuff because other people were seeing things work. This woman was the first woman who messaged me and said, hey, Sue, you're putting these offerings out there, but I don't want that. I want you to teach me what you're doing, which was basically creating relationships, networking, and getting consulting gigs by using LinkedIn and Twitter. And this woman literally shifted my mindset and everything about my business. And a long time had gone by. And it was about maybe 7 years later, I was thinking of her and how grateful I was. And I messaged her on LinkedIn and nothing happened. Because she's not on LinkedIn. But then like a year later, she saw it and was like, oh my God, wow. And it was just really cool. And it felt good just to even send that to her. So I offer you that as sort of an extra credit next step that you can take in our challenge. So, oh, actually, I want to go back to this and go over our slides again to show you that last next step. What happened here? I don't want to change my effects. So challenge day 3, you stop is always going to be there, right? Because that's also going to help us with our newsfeed cleanup. Scroll through that LinkedIn newsfeed. If you start seeing something that makes you feel like, that's where we click the 3 dots and we unfollow. And then connect with at least 3 people that you respect that you are not connected to yet. Got my typos, gonna fix that. Send a LinkedIn message to an old connection you appreciate and let them know why. And then come back to the group and let us know. And as time goes on, I'd love to see some more of that. If you know, it can take a little while maybe to see the effect in your news feed, but take these steps, let us know how it feels to take these actions. If you get some responses from people, and share the group, please. I've had a few people ask me, is it okay if I share this with people? What if they can't start on day, that it's later? The lessons are there. So anyone can start. Any day someone joins the group, that can be their day 1. So I hope this has been helpful. Remember, you do you and start from where you're at. Feel comfortable in taking those next steps without the fear of somebody judging you or some expert saying that you're doing it wrong. If you feel like you're really terrified of doing something and like you really feel like, am I going to look like an ass? One, you're probably not, but please feel free to drop me a note. Message me, email me at sue@suekoch.com, and we'll work through that, because the whole idea of this is making sure that people can use social media in a way that grows their business, gets them a job, creates relationships, helps them sell without bringing them back down. So that's the goal. All right. So that is it. Here's your challenge. Everything will be up on the group. Keep me posted on how things are going. The sun is on my screen where I'm trying to see my comments over here. So thank you guys so much for joining me. And yeah, the LinkedIn one. Let me know how that looks when you do it. Okay, so good to see you guys. Keep me posted of any questions. So tomorrow I'm going to be live at 9 a.m. and Friday I'm going to be live at 9 a.m. And then we're going to have some more things coming at you after the 5-day challenge is open, and perhaps have some guests on to have some conversations. So keep me posted and I will see you in the morning. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.